guess what? It's the 6th of May 2023, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for What a Week That Was. Yeah, this is where we look at the news from around the world, starting off with the UK based news and events recorded by the UK news from around the world, and then we go to the American news, a bit of Australian news, not a lot this week, and then we'll do the and finally, which is where we look at stuff that is a little bit more amusing than the tragedies and awful stuff that we're going to cover. This week we've got who was the Moscow drone pilot. Well, obviously no one, because it was a drone, but you get my drift. King Charles getting coronated. Yeah. Local elections, the strikes, and various other bits and pieces as well. So let's get it started, shall we? Are you Smiley Mac? Hope you're good. We shall start with the news in the UK, or rather UK-based news, which actually starts off in Sudan. People are fleeing Sudan via the local harbours, basically trying to flee anywhere they can, and boats seem to be the safest way at the moment. The last British evacuees arrived in the UK as well, although there are still some in Sudan that need urgent help. The nurses started a 28-hour strike. They had to curtail it slightly because they had gone over their mandate of 6 months for strike action, so they had to, instead of a 3-day strike or a 4-day strike, they had to do a 2-day strike. Well, 28-hour strike is not even a 2-day strike, is it? It's a day and 4 hours. Yeah, my maths wasn't working then. I'm very tired, I'll be honest with you. I've had a busy week one way and another. Now, the emergency nurses are also going out on strike on this strike, which is unusual, first time that's happened. But if there is any major event, they will come off the picket lines and go and help people. So fingers crossed. Patients were warned, do not go to A&E unless it's life-threatening. Meanwhile, the King Charles's coronation was upcoming, and it's basically, they said that they want millions, a chorus of millions of people to pledge their allegiance to King Charles III. Yeah, I have no objection to the king or whatever, but I ain't at all going to be assigning my allegiance to anyone. Thank you very much. So yes, it wasn't going to happen, but did it? We don't know. We'll have to wait until Saturday to find out. Takes us very nicely there, though, to Monday, where where a lot of stuff was going on. We had more tragedy in Syria. Basically, there was a ceasefire, which is not really holding up, and sadly, there seems to be now warnings. The UN certainly warning of a humanitarian crisis for the people of Sudan. They're the poor people who can't actually get out. Britain said that it had got out 2,197 British people from it. The RCN decided to vote again. Oh no, sorry, the RCN strike was to end at midnight. And it did, like I say, include the intensive care, but I didn't hear anything major occurred, so thankfully it's not too bad. Meanwhile, in France, and Paris in particular, more protests for May Day this time, and 100 police officers injured and many hundreds of people arrested. It was a bank holiday over here. In America it wasn't, and a bank went bankrupt. Another bank went bust. This time it was First Republic Bank, which is a bit worrying because that's 3 banks that have gone down so far this year, and it didn't take that much to cause the global catastrophe in 2008. So hopefully that will not be happening, and we can just think, oh well, yeah, they just went bust, but it all got sorted out and everything's okay. But I do worry that we're going to feel we're going to hear about this and more about it in the near future. I think it's not the only bank that's on the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, one of the chief scientists at Google said that he regrets totally the work he's done on AI and fears that AI could be a danger to humanity. Now, I'm sure that you can program AI not to be a danger to humanity because, well, that makes more sense. And unlike Skynet, which was a fictional thing, we would have an off button that we could just press and turn it all off. So I think we don't need to worry too much. Oh, well, hi Ben. Well, don't talk about the qualifying because I can't watch it until the morning, Ben. So if you do, think about it. If worried, buy gold and bury it. Buy gold from shards in Blackpool. Right, okay. Thank you. Meanwhile, the Unite unions and all those have got a 5% pay rise, even though Unite and the RCN are still on strike and in dispute. They also get over £1,000 as a one-off payment as well, and again that goes to the nurses who are still striking, the RCN and the Unite unions. They all get it because they all work for the NHS. Someone who doesn't work for the NHS and guilty until proven, no, innocent until proven guilty. This is Letby. She was the woman who's accused of murdering 7 babies and attempted to murder 10 others while she worked in intensive care as a nurse. And she said that she only wanted to help the babies. The trial is continuing. Like I say, guilty, no, innocent until proven guilty. Freudian slip, I told you, I'm tired. A man was arrested after throwing items into the Buckingham Palace grounds. Bearing in mind we've got the coronation in a few days' time. The gentleman in question was arrested and has been kept under the Mental Health Act. And apparently it was, although I've heard different things, but the most common thing I've heard is it was shotgun shells. But yeah. And Wrexham Football Club. They've been promoted to the actual Football League. Owners Ryan Reynolds and the other guy, I don't know who he is. They have basically bought this club, doing a Disney program on it, and turned the whole thing around. And I have a soft spot for Wrexham because I was a manager at Wrexham when I worked for Game for quite a while. It's a nice little commute as well. So it's been a busy but scary week. I'll be brought down on Tuesday in the middle of nowhere in the dark. Oh dear. Keystone Rizet out without the intelligence. Very good. He royally messed up. Yes, Outrix, good luck. The shop is live. Yes, I ate an E. Bike is sick, but all good. Clean my house and mother-in-law, so I'm now being cleaning to do nothing. So yeah, a bit of chatter going on in the chat room. And that was everyone's favourite Tuesday of the week. It was the only Tuesday of the week, let's be honest. Then we had Wednesday. Now Wednesday is always an interesting day because there's always stuff going on. And this Wednesday was no different because we had this rather strange event, which is an alleged drone allegedly going off just above one of the buildings in the Moscow in the capital of Russia, Moscow, at the Kremlin, and accusations thrown around about who did it. Russia blamed America. Russia blamed America and Ukraine. Russia blamed Ukraine. Ukraine blamed Russia. It's just very, very confusing. But I don't think. I mean, Moscow is not necessarily that near the border, so I don't think Ukraine have the capabilities of doing something that far in. That accurately. So we'll have to wait and see. But there's more about that coming on in the American news because there's a lot more coverage over there because there's less royal stuff going on in America. So we'll be finding out a bit more about what that was about. Meanwhile, yeah, a 13-year-old was arrested in Belgrade at a state school after a shooting where people sadly lost their lives. The 13-year-old has not been identified because of their age, but is currently being held in custody and will face trial soon. Police say any protesters will be dealt with swiftly during the coronation of King Charles III and the sham coronation of Queen Camilla. It's going to be interesting, or it was going to be interesting to see if there would be any protesters brave enough to try and get in there. I would imagine, or imagined that the Stop Oil protesters would have managed to, stick themselves to the mall in front of the horses, and then realised that the horses are actually very natural indeed. So yeah, it wasn't great idea, but anyway, yeah, you will be dealt with swiftly, and more importantly, there was 27,000 police from all over the country going to London for that coronation malarkey. Not to watch it, just to keep the people who have gone there to watch it, which is fine. If you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But not for me, thank you very much. Although I'm not one of these people who say, not my king. I think the king and the royal family do bring revenue into the country, which is greater than the cost of them. Therefore, they are financially viable. Therefore, I don't have a problem with them. Meanwhile, Ed Sheeran, we've been following this, but it actually made the UK news because he was found not guilty of plagiarising "Let's Get It On" from Marvin Gaye. It was the family of the co-writer of the song who'd taken Ed Sheeran to court, and during the course of the trial, when he was in New York, his grandma sadly had a funeral which he couldn't attend. So yeah, it's very sad indeed that he missed his grandma's funeral. Then there was the small matter of the English local elections. Some areas were all out, which was basically every councillor in the area is up for re-election, and Wigan was one of them. And I put my hat into the ring, so to speak, and I decided to have another go at becoming a councillor for Wigan as an independent. But yeah, the voting went on these areas here. The white areas are no votes because there was no election. The dark green areas are the areas where there is an all-out election, so you've got a number of votes for the number of councillors in your ward. So in Wigan it was 3 because there's 3 councillors per ward, so you had up to 3 votes and you could click on as many people as you wanted. So yeah, that was that, and then 1/3 is like a standard election, which is the one I stood in last year, where I came second with 200 and odd votes. But we didn't get the results until Friday. Meanwhile, Russia says it reserves the right to fight back after explosion in Moscow. And in Kiev, the air raid sirens were heard and people ran for cover. But this is where people are thinking that, because it was described as a terrorist attack, and I'm like, if you're giving it, you've got to take it. But when you're taking it in a right way. But as in, they are not attacking civilians, they're attacking genuine proper targets, i.e. Troops, areas where they store the oil for the tanks and all that kind of stuff. They are not doing the war crimes that Russia's doing by blowing up apartment blocks, hospitals and other infrastructure which affects the general population of the country, which is against the human rights law. There is a mandate out for the arrest of Putin for war crimes, and Zelensky actually went to The Hague and met with the lawmakers who'd actually come up with this mandate to arrest Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, the RMT have had another vote, and they have decided that they've got another 6 months of strikes in them. So they will be going out on strike for another 6 months, and it's really, really, really not good. Particularly if you use the trains a lot. I mean, I don't. I can't remember last time I was on a train. I can actually. Why has that not come up? Why has that gone? Where's that gone? Where's that gone? What's going on there? What the hell is going on? I don't know what's going on. My computer's gone, whoop. I want to talk about the elections again. And I'm like, no, we can't talk about the elections again because we've done the elections. Thank you very much. That's what we're talking about. There we go. So that was Thursday. That brings us rather handily to Friday. It's a Friday. And we got the local election results. Now in Wigan, there was very few surprises. There was one independent who got elected, and that was for the Ince ward, i.e. not me. And she, ironically, had been sacked by the council when she worked for the council for criticising the council for what they're doing with Wigan Town Centre. So she stood as an independent, and she got more votes than any other Labour or any other candidate in that ward. She come top. She beat all three Labour councillors, so one of them is no longer a councillor, and the other opposition councillors as well. So top going there, and very well done. Sadly, I didn't get my moment in the sun for two reasons. One is I didn't get enough votes, and the second one is I nipped out for something to eat when they called my results out. I got 515 votes this time, which is more than double what I got last time. So something to build on, and just hope that we can push it forward in the future at some point. Who knows when that will be, or if it will even be. Nobody knows. But nationally, Labour were up 527 councillors. The Conservatives were down 1,058, and the Lib Dems were up 416. And yeah, it's interesting to see that the Labour vote should have been considerably higher, because obviously you've got an incumbent government that's been in for God knows how long, has messed up I don't know how many times, but 527 is not a high number. I would have thought they'd have been up 700-800 councillors, not just 500 odd. Anyway, we'll wait to see when the general election is, which I don't think will be for another year. So we will have to wait and see what happens. Oh no, Elder, it's all learning curve. Yeah, absolutely learning curve. Never trust a Tory. Can't just go in and win all the time. No, so congratulations on 500 plus. Still proud of you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was good. I posted 5,000 leaflets. I've done a vlog thing on it. Just not put it up yet because, long story short, I ended up in a pub with a load of politicians last night and got absolutely smashed out my brain with alcohol, so this is like air of the dog. So yeah, it was a very weird day yesterday. Anyway, WHO, the World Health Organization, declare the global COVID-19 crisis or threat is now over. There are still people dying from it. It's still rampant in some parts of the world, but generally speaking, overall, WHO say it is now a minor event, not a major thing to worry about. Also yesterday, King Charles went for a surprise walkabout along the Mall with Prince William and Katie, yeah, Prince and Princess of Wales. They had a walk around on the Mall to all the people who were camping and waiting for the coronation, which would have been today had things turned out differently. And that brings us bizarrely to today, Saturday. And well, you won't believe this, but the King got coronated. And that's enough of that. So let's move on to La 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 America. We want to be in America. No, we don't want to be in America, 'cause you get a bullet hole in your head in America. Lucas said for hangover cure. I Lucas said this morning, to be fair, but I didn't have a hangover. How many years have we not had a general election? And 3/4 Tory PMs. Aye. Oh, aye, Admiral Katz. You snuck in. I went to Manchester today. Actually, a lot of people watching. It's blah blah blah. Yeah, we've done that. We've done that one already. Yeah, USA. Who wants to be in America? Even Americans don't want to be in America. BB eating batteries time, indubitably. So, big stories this week in America. Al Sharpton puts McDonald's on notice over alleged racial discrimination. The National Action Network, a non-profit civil rights activism group headed by the Reverend Al Sharpton, has warned it will mobilise against McDonald's unless the fast food company addresses accusations of racial discrimination. Sharpton sent a letter to McDonald's CEO Chris Kempinski on Thursday, urging the company to acknowledge complaints of racism in its employment, advertising and franchising. Well, I mean, I'm getting a little bit overweight now, and I find the term Big Mac offensive because I'm getting big. So I think I might write to McDonald's as well and see if I can get a free Big Mac from them, because that's how it works, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, this is what I was on about before. A massive fire at Crimea oil reserve, part of Ukraine's full-scale offensive, allegedly. A massive fire that broke out at an oil reserve on Russian-occupied Sevastopol on Saturday was an attack on Russian logistics as part of Ukraine's preparations for a major counter-defensive, a military official said on Sunday that Russian operations in Crimea were undermined and the attack as the Ukrainian army assembles their highly anticipated springtime assault. This work is a preparation for the broad full-scale pushback of the Russian illegal invasion. Are you doing any more building streams? Building streams? Oh, you mean Lego? Yes, I've just been busy. Good evening, Marty Hopkirk. It wasn't a loss. I got best of the rest. I was fourth out of 6, where 3 of them were Labour. So yeah, I think I did all right. So yeah. Anyway, a New York gun buyback program sets a record. A statewide gun buyback program took more than 3,000 weapons off New York streets, including a record-setting 300 in Santa Cruz. Officials in the upstate city said they netted 751 guns within hours, the most ever for a similar buyback program in any state, and among the 3,076 weapons collected during the Attorney General Letitia James' latest initiative. We recovered 3,076 guns today, including 185 assault weapons. Every single one of these guns represents a possibility of a life not being taken by it. So yeah, maybe America are waking up. You're watching or listening to my podcast, and that is great, because we don't want Americans dying, or anyone for that matter. Swarms of earthquakes rock Southern California. Now, the big question is, what do you call a group of earthquakes? And swarm is not something I would have thought of. Now, I don't know whether that's an official name or whether it's just one that was made up. But then they say a slew of earthquakes shook up the Salton Sea region of Southern California within 24 hours over the weekend, with the seismic activity reaching 4.5 in magnitude. The first swarm began at 12:08 p.m. Saturday, with nearly 50 tremors shaking the area until 5:12 a.m. on Sunday. The Herberquakes reached up to 3.7 in magnitude and were felt by about 60 people. And the second swarm struck nearly 40 miles north of Nyland. So yeah, America has been waiting, as long as I've been on the planet, for the big one. San Andreas Fault. You've seen movies that sensationalise it and all that kind of thing. And there's been a flurry. I'm gonna use the word flurry just because of earthquake activity in the region, and one is just hoping that this isn't going to anywhere that's not well, it's not going to go down the route of a major earthquake, even though it will happen at some point. Hopefully, because they've been knowing about this for a long while, the majority of buildings have been built properly, unlike the tragedy that unfolded in Turkey, and minimal loss of life will be encountered. But it is, I think we are heading towards something along them lines. It's good to read. Someone took weapons away. Never thought any Americans had brains. Yes, Smiley Mac. I'm sure they buy back guns. It just gives people more money to go buy more. A rumble of earthquakes. Very good. Hi, JT and Rach. Hope you're good. I doubt they'd get more than the gun was worth at the start. They'd probably get less, but if you're worried about your kids getting hold of your gun or whatever, it might be a good idea just to take it away if you don't need it yourself. Texas shooting. No. Suspect who killed 5 neighbours, including a child, could be anywhere now. Cleveland, Texas. The search for a Texas man who allegedly shot his neighbours after they asked him to stop firing off rounds in his yard, stretched into a second day, with authorities saying the man could be anywhere by now. He fled after the shooting on Friday night that left 5 people dead, including an 8-year-old boy. Horrendous, but you're firing a gun off in a backyard. People are going to complain about it, even in America. Doesn't mean you go around and kill everyone. Ex-mortuary worker indicted for selling stolen body parts for $11,000 to a man she met on Facebook. What? An Arkansas woman pleaded not guilty to charges she stole stolen body parts from a medical school corpses for $11,000 to a Pennsylvania man she met on social media. The former mortuary worker is accused of selling 20 boxes of body parts to a man she met through Facebook group about oddities, according to the April 5th indictment. And if that's a picture of her, I can see why she's in a group called Oddities. What are we up to? Yeah, good. It is called a swarm. It is called a swarm. Oh, okay then. Most of the guns recovered, buyback programs, model cash towards the new models. Yep, that is possibly true, but fingers crossed it's not. Back window of a New York Police Department patrol car shot out in Brooklyn with officers still inside it. The back window of a parked NYPD patrol car was shot out in Brooklyn on Saturday as 2 cops sat inside. Despite the large hole at the back window, neither of the officers were unhurt. I think it means neither of the officers were hurt, because despite the large hole in the back window, neither of the officers were unhurt. Implies that that's a typo and it's hurt. The sources said it was unclear if the incident, which took place in Greenpoint at the intersection of Morgan Avenue, was the result of a stray shot or if a gunman had targeted the police car. A stray shot. God, you see why I don't want to go to America. Oh, that must have cost an arm and a leg. Yep, smiley back. Very good. 2 people shot in Manhattan after gunman opens fire and flees. 2 people were shot in Hell's Kitchen Saturday night, sources said. The attack happened on the West 46th Street and 9th Avenue around 5:45 p.m. when the assailant walked up to one of the victims and opened fire, according to a source. The attacker then fled. A second victim was taken by friends to hospital. The condition of the victims is unknown, and authorities are looking for a white Jeep. One assumes the authorities are looking for whoever's in the white Jeep rather than just looking for a white Jeep. It's not Transformers. Trump lawyer seeks mistrial in E. Jean Carroll rape lawsuit. Former President Donald Trump's attorney requested a mistrial on Monday in E. Jean Carroll's civil rape case against the ex-commander-in-chief, citing persuasive, unfair and prejudicial rulings by the Manhattan federal court judge. So yeah, basically, it's the biggest trial he's got at the moment. He's been accused of rape, and he's defending it by just saying that it should be chucked out because they've not done it right in the first place, rather than what it is. America, sort your English out. Yes, very good. Hundreds of scientists blast zealots pushing plant-based diets. Hundreds of scientists have banded together to blast the push to adopt a plant-based diet, arguing that meat is critical to a well-balanced diet. Well, we are carnivores at the end of the day. And warning against villainising carnivores. Experts believe experts behind 9 new research papers published in Animal Frontiers are among nearly 1,000 signatures on a declaration looking to prove the value of red meat amid global increase in vegetarianism and veganism. The issue I have with it is the amount of energy to turn a plant into something that looks like a beef burger and tastes a bit like a beef burger. The amount of processing that goes into that, it can't be healthy for you. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, why don't you just eat vegetables? You know, like peas and rice and stuff like that. Why do you have to make it into look like something that it's not? Because most people who are meat eaters really don't get the vegetarian and vegan options that are out there. Isn't the key to a balanced diet balance? Yes, exactly. Although I must admit, I don't have a balanced diet because I eat very little vegetables or anything similar. So yeah, pot, kettle and all that kind of thing. Man 27 fatally jumps from New York City building. A 27-year-old man jumped to his death from a Queens building early on Monday. The man leapt from the Pomocco House building on Parsons Boulevard around midnight. He was taken to New York Presbyterian Queens Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Yeah, sounds horrendous. And what drives people to that kind of thing, I kind of know, but yeah, just awful. Veggie for the rabbits. Right. I have an easy solution for you, Elder. Oh, go on, Smiley Mac. Texas college baseball player shot by stray bullet in bullpen during a game. An 18-year-old Texas college baseball player was struck by a stray bullet while standing in the bullpen during a game Saturday in what police have described as a case of incredibly bad luck. The Texas player, whose identity has not been released, was facing off against the University of Houston Victoria when gunfire erupted about 5:30 p.m. So yeah, he's in the area where you're waiting to go out, and bad luck. There's a stray bullet just accidentally hits you. I mean, come on, this doesn't happen in anywhere else in the world. America, sort your guns out. Next time you eat, stand on one leg and balance. That's a balanced diet. Oh, very good. That's a balanced diet. Yes, yes, yes. Meghan Markle, her ailing dad, I refuse to be buried by her. Meghan Markle's ailing, long-estranged dad said he refuses to be buried by his exiled royal daughter after she repeatedly talked about how she has already mourned him. Struggling to speak after a debilitating stroke, Thomas Markle, 78, begged his daughter to reconnect and finally allow him to see his royal grandkids, Princess Lilibet, who's 1, and Prince Archie, who turns 4 on Saturday, which is today. Happy birthday, Prince Archie. Of course it is, the day of his other grandfather, King Charles's coronation, which is why she's not here. Markle was asked by New Spotlight in a segment if she would do so, and yeah, I don't really care. Meghan, go away, please. Thank you. Ugga bugger, English fine, need more gun booger. Woman as loudly and full body organism during an LA Philharmonic Orchestra. The ground really moved for one woman during the second movement of the LA Philharmonic's performance of Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony. I know it well. When she experienced a loud and full-bodied organism. Several concert-goers described the woman's dramatic moment on Friday from the balcony at the packed Walt Disney Concert Hall. Everyone kind of turned up to see what was happening, said one of the guests there. Yeah, it's When Harry Met Sally, isn't it? But in a posh environment. There must have been a quiet part of it if you could hear her, because orchestras are notoriously loud. Stephen Hawking warned AI could mean the end of the human race in years leading up to his death. Well, it didn't mean the end of the human race in years leading up to his death, because he's been dead a while now. But I know where it's coming from. Long before Elon Musk and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak signed a letter warning that artificial intelligence poses profound risks to humanity, British theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking had been sounding the alarm on the rapidly evolving technology. The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race, Hawking told the BBC years before he passed away. And yeah, he's a wise man, that's to be said. Wow. Shut up, Harry's wife. Why was he even warning us now he's dead? Yeah, well, computer screen, you could program it so it'll just talk, and you know, if it gets triggered by something, it'll say, oh yeah, Stephen wants me to put this up on the screen and tell the world about it. No, he said it before he passed away. Non-stop rain causes severe flooding and a partial wall collapse in New York City. That's it, a partial wall collapse. Must have been a quiet news day. Dad of crying baby that triggered Texas massacre never thought gunman would shoot. The Texas resident who complained that his neighbour's shooting woke his baby apparently triggered the other man to drunkenly kill 5 people. He says he is in disbelief at the loss of his own wife and 8-year-old boy in the massacre. Yeah, so he basically went and said, can you just keep the noise down? And his wife and his son and 3 other people were murdered by a madman with a gun, because you can get guns in America even if you are mad. Video shows cars piled up after tornado hits Palm Beach Gardens in Florida. A tornado in Florida. Videos are emerging of destruction in wake of a highly destructive tornado that travelled through South Florida over the weekend, flipping vehicles onto their roofs and on top of each other too. Where are we? There we go. We shouldn't laugh, but lengths are just a different level, yeah. Bee swarm Arizona family during photo shoot stings mother more than 75 times as she protects the kids. Fire officials praised the mother's heroic actions to protect her 2 kids when a swarm of bees attacked the family on Sunday afternoon. Killer bees. I mean, I watched a movie about that once. It was dreadful. You can't park there. Very good. Smelly Mac. Ed Sheeran, I'm done if found liable in Marvin Gaye Let's Get It On copyright lawsuit. Ed Sheeran would be done if he's found liable of ripping off Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On, he said on Monday, as he returned to the stand against, again, sang and strummed there. As he returned to the stand and again sang and strummed his guitar for a Manhattan jury, the British singer-songwriter expressed the copyright infringement case has had on him, which obviously included not being able to attend his late grandmother's funeral. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Ed Sheeran, but you know, you got to feel for the guy. I think someone's on a delay here. A 9-year-old boy killed in Texas shooting was gunned down trying to protect his mum. A 9-year-old boy was shot and killed, along with his mother and 3 others in their Texas home, had died trying to protect his heartbroken father said on Monday. Survivor and grieving father Wilson Garcia recalled the moment his loved ones were shot and killed by the fugitive, who was still on the run 2 days later. Not the perfect I don't like. If he lost, he'd probably end up living in a Lego house, or... Well, James May built one, didn't he? So there's a possibility. Egyptian mummy head kept in cupboard for a century is now up for sale. Some may say it's a sight for sore eyes. A 2,800-year-old ancient Egyptian mummy head that had been locked away in a cupboard for decades has been put up for sale. The precious artefact was brought to the UK by British soldiers during the First World War and has been carbon dated to between 800 BC and 750 BC. A descendant of the soldier who had the priceless relic in the family's possession for a century said that it was time for it to move on. Yeah, what it's time for it to do is to be sent back to where it should be, which is, if it's Egypt, Egypt. and not sold. It's part of a human body. You know, what are you going to do when someone famous dies? You chop off all the bits and sell them separately. I mean, I'm not having the meat and two veg if that does happen, no matter who it is. But yeah, it's just sick that you can sell mummies. Mummy, outlaw. Outlaw your guns. Yep. Do you see the news saying we shouldn't call them mummies? Yes, yeah, I reported that a few weeks ago. Like, for God's sake, you know, they're, I mean, we know they're not all mummies. Some of them are daddies as well. The world's gone mad. Indiana bar backtracks on vow to toss patrons who criticise Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney. I mean, if they're going to toss the patrons, I think more people will be going in there dissing the Bud Light linkage with the transsexual. Because, you know, banana artwork worth $120,000 eaten by a hungry visitor at South Korean museum. It was a low-hanging fruit, an art installation that featured a ripe banana taped to a wall at Seoul Art Museum was devoured by a college student who defended himself by saying he was hungry after skipping breakfast. The iconic artwork, titled Comedian, by Italian artist Maurizio Catalano, was on display as part of an exhibition called We at the Leiden Museum of Art, which specialises in crap art. It's basically a banana that's duct taped to a wall, and yeah, that's not art. That's a banana duct taped to a wall. And how they keep it fresh? What do? Do they replace it every day? So therefore, it's a different banana every time you go, which means it's not an art installation. It's a salad bowl. Either way, completely bonkers. It's to do with genders. They shouldn't be called mummified remains. Those poor mummies aren't allowed to defend themselves. He ate the golden banana. I own a real skeleton. If they came around asking for him, I'd say no. Okay, fair enough. Oh, hang on a minute. Is that the skeleton that you've got actually inside your body? This thing? Because I've got a skeleton as well, real life one. Still alive at the minute. Ow. Ow, don't put yourself on the tit. Anyway. I thought that it was saying he ate the man who ate the banana. Oh my god. No. No. It's eating the banana. Pope says he's working on secret Ukraine peace mission. Well, the first law of secret missions is you don't tell anyone that you're working on one. Mind you, he believes in fairy tales, so, you know, what can you say? Oh, wrong one. There we go. I'm also a proud owner of a skeleton. Yes, Annie. I don't know whether proud's quite the word I would use, but you do have a skeleton. A student claims he was sent home over a shirt that said there are only two genders. A 12-year-old boy from Massachusetts claims he was sent home from school a few weeks ago for wearing a t-shirt that declared there are only two genders, which he was told made the other students feel unsafe. Liam Morrison, a 7th grader at John T. Nichols Junior Middle School in Middleborough, recounted the incident during a Middleborough School Committee meeting on April the 13th. Yeah, I'm kind of on both sides of this. I think I don't see the point of a child who's 12 wearing a provocative t-shirt of any kind. But anyway, it was a secret mission. It's definitely not a secret if you don't tell anyone you're on a secret mission. Exactly. I bought Larry up in San Francisco. He's got no manner and just hangs around all day being a bum. Doesn't even pay rent, just like a proper San Franciscan. At least he's wearing a shirt. Yeah, exactly. At least he's wearing a shirt. If I'd have been him, although I wouldn't have done when I was 12, to be fair, because of my body complex image thing. But I said, right, okay then, I'll just take it off and then just walk around with no top on for the rest of the day at school. They'd soon change their mind, wouldn't they? But no, apparently they sent him home. Texas college baseball player shot by strafe bullet in bullpen during game. We've already mentioned that. Yeah, I've done that one twice for some reason. Apologies. Biden ends COVID vaccine mandates for feds and international flyers. In a White House announcement on Monday, COVID-19 vaccination mandates for all federal workers and plane passengers from overseas will end next week. Today we're announcing that the administration will end the COVID-19 vaccine requirements for federal employees, federal contractors and international air travellers at the end of day on May the 11th. The same day that the COVID-19 public health emergency ends. Although we've already know that WHO have ended it today. They got one over on Biden, mind you, it's not difficult. Multiple fatalities on Illinois highway after a dust storm causes up to 60 crashes. A windstorm in south central Illinois kicked up clouds of dust Monday, causing numerous crashes, pile-ups and multiple fatalities on Interstate 55. The crashes occurred late in the morning and involved 40 to 60 passenger cars and multiple tractor trailers, two which caught fire. We moan about our weather, but God, some countries just get it from all angles, don't they? And not in a good way. Shut up, fossil. Biden, basically the same thing, yes. Thousands of Hollywood writers strike for the first time in 15 years. Thousands of film and television writers will head to the picket lines to fight for pay increases and other benefits in the first strike Hollywood has seen in 15 years. The Writers Guild of America announced that its 11,500 screenwriter members in California, New York and other cities will refuse to work after the union and studios failed to agree on a new 3-year contract after the current one expired just after the start of the new financial year. Now, they're doing this at a very dangerous time because we've already discussed AI, and I'm pretty sure that there'll be some TV companies out there who will decide that they don't need screenwriters or script writers anymore. All they'll do is they'll just get an AI computer to write the script, and it'll be hilarious because computers are well known for their sense of humour. You wait 20 minutes for a tape to load and it goes syntax error. So Minnesota lawmaker caught voting shirtless over Zoom in cringeworthy moment. I forgot about this. A Minnesota state senator was caught on Zoom camera voting shirtless with his computer background, an ode to Schoolhouse Rocks and just a bill. This was a legislative meeting on Monday morning. His cringeworthy display promptly went viral, even though the camera that captured the moment during the Legislative Audit Commission's meeting quickly shut off. I mean, it's not professional, but it's hardly offensive, is it, if someone walks around with no shirt on? I mean, you wouldn't ever get me doing anything like that, obviously. But yeah, apparently some people do. Everyone's jumping on the strike wagon. I'm striking for the strikes. Yes, exactly. Another mysterious balloon has been detected over US airspace, this time over Hawaii. Another mysterious balloon has been spotted by the US military in American airspace, this time high in the sky off the coast of Hawaii, according to the Department of Defense. It is unclear who owns the balloon, but the object did not fly over any sensitive areas and poses no threat to national security, the DoD said. The unidentified object travelled 36,000 feet above the coast of Hawaii and has been tracked for at least 24 hours. Where are we? Where's the balloon gone? There he is. They're blowing it up, by the way. That's a picture of the balloon that they blew up. Ukraine has killed 20,000 Russian fighters in just 5 months, as US reveals stunning death toll. Ukrainian forces have killed approximately 20,000 Russian fighters and wounded roughly 80,000 more over the past 5 months, US officials revealed. The latest estimate, formally classified, brings the total of numbers of approximate Russian casualties to the 40-month-old war at about 200,000. Now, again, it's propaganda time. There's a war going on, so this for the Ukrainians would be good news because it means your guys. We may be losing our guys as well, but they are taking out the enemy. Obviously, for the families of the people at home in Russia who don't know their loved ones have died, it's horrendous. It's horrific. The situation is what it is, but we have to take into account that the stuff that we're reading here is not necessarily 100% accurate. It may be ever so slightly tweaked, so it looks better than it could be from the eyes of the people on this side of the war, and make it look worse to people on the other side of the war who may be able to access certain parts of the news, etc. But yeah, definitely something going on. Most young Brits not interested in royals ahead of King Charles's coronation. I didn't realise I was a young Brit. Most of young Brits are not cheering God Save the King. A recent study conducted ahead of King Charles's coronation found that the majority of young Brits are not interested in the royal family and believe the soon-to-be announced King is out of touch. The BBC commissioned an opinion poll through the YouGov to determine how the United Kingdom felt about the monarchy as the institution prepares to officially crown its latest monarch. Now, the issue is, of course, that there was another thing that was on, and it said 61% of young people supported the royal family. So I suppose it depends who you ask, what mood they're in, and all that kind of thing. Exactly, Angela. Some of the Russian fighters didn't want to go and fight, but didn't get a choice. They just got called up, and if you didn't go, you'd either go to prison or get shot. I've never felt so young, Smelly Mac says. Gen Zers say New Jersey Mal's curfew is unfair to teens after TikTok brawls. The kids are not alright to be roaming the Mal, that is. Unaccompanied minors at Westfield Garden State Plaza in Parmas, New Jersey were asked to leave and escorted to the exits by security guards and police officers when the clock struck 5 p.m. I'm sure there's better ways of dealing with stuff like that, but it's better than letting them go on. I'm not really interested in the royal family, but I did watch it. It was a great ceremony, I'll be honest. Yeah, it's true, the royals don't even know what that as real people exist. I think they do. But I saw clips of it, and yeah, you do feel when they're playing the music, the orchestra's playing the music and all that kind of thing, because I always saw bits on the news, but that music is very stirring, isn't it? It's very, pomp and circumstance, and you're all like, oh yeah, it's really proud and all that kind of thing. But the whole thing is more for tourists, as far as I'm concerned, and if it brings tourists and money in, then that's fine. I mean, Russians didn't get a choice. They get shot or go to prison, where they will eventually be shot. Exactly, Smiley Mac. New Jersey woman receives ticket after running over herself with her own car. You're like, what? A New Jersey woman was issued a ticket for driving an unregistered vehicle after she ran over herself with her own car in a bizarre accident on Monday. She was obviously part of an E17 tribute act. Now that joke is hilarious if you know who E17 are, and it's even more hilarious if you know the story about one of the members of the band running themselves over with a car. What wasn't hilarious was the injury sustained, but he did make a full recovery. But yeah. The 61-year-old woman had gotten out of her 2014 Lincoln in Warren County around 7:30 p.m. without realising that she never put the car into park. She attempted to stop the car as it rolled forward, but she fell and the back wheel went over her. She wasn't seriously injured, thankfully, but when the police arrived, they gave her a ticket because her car had no licence. Do, 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 do. In it. Scrooge McDuck was elected king. Neat. It's something to watch with a beer. Doesn't happen every day. Something different. Yeah, I was at work, but if I hadn't been at work, I'd have probably had it on in the background, but I wouldn't have sat and watched it kind of thing. Beware. A truck transporting 1 million bees crashes in Florida. A traffic accident created a major buzz in Florida when 1 million bees were unleashed on a highway when a tractor trailer slammed into a truck hauling the insects on Tuesday. The unbelievable incident unfolded about 3:15 a.m. on the US Highway 301 and the entrance ramp to the 110 east of Duval County. Yeah, but if they're homing bees, you'll be alright. They'll just fly home. But 1 million bees, that's not a big truck. I mean, bees are not massive. Bees are quite small. In fact, they're tiny. They're about that big. So 1 million of them. And how do you know who counts these bees? I mean, literally, yeah. Who counts these bees? Madness. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Very good. I don't believe it. How King Charles' coronation will be different than Queen Elizabeth's. Well, he's a man. She wasn't. It's a double coronation. Hers wasn't. It'll be televised on the internet. Hers wasn't. It'll be in 4K. Hers wasn't. And it'll be live watched all over the world by billions of people. And hers wasn't, because TVs weren't really around then. So anyway, I've sorted that out. We don't need to read the story. It doesn't really matter, because it's so obvious. One other thing that is obvious is, where's his sausage fingers? My sausage fingers. I just put them behind my back so that I didn't have to say people he's got sausage fingers, because I don't have sausage fingers. I have fingers that are well, we all have sausage fingers, because you can get thin sausages and short sausages, but they're not sausages. My fingers are fingers. I just use my hands a lot for things, and it's made them look a little bit sausage-like. I knew the difference. He'll be king. She was a queen. Yes. People like her. People don't like him. Yeah. I'm sorry, but neither of them deserve this. What have they? What have they? What have they done to deserve this? What have they? What have they? What have they? Putin could face arrest in South Africa if he attends economic summit. Russian President Vladimir Putin could be arrested if he decides to attend a key economic summit in South Africa in person this summer, authorities in the African nation said. South African authorities have said they would have no choice but to execute the warrant issued by the International Criminal Court for Putin's arrest should he take part in the Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa summit. Brilliant. I don't mind Charles. Seems chill. Yeah. You're looking forward to the next coronation in a few weeks when old age hits him. Yeah, people say no, it's a once in a lifetime thing, and I'm like, well, unless you're planning on dying in the next 6 months, I think you might be alright. You might get another one. That probably would be the last one in your lifetime if you're, older than the king, would be, older than William. Probably would be the last one you'd see, but anyway, we digress. Don't tell him that. Keep it quiet until he's there. Nostradamus predicted that Charles would be the shortest lived king. Okay, not bad for someone who was born hundreds of years before Charles was going to be king. Anyway, Michigan school district bans all backpacks over gun concerns. A Michigan school district has banned all backpacks, including those made out of clear plastic, for the rest of the school year in response to growing fears about firearms in classrooms. The Flint Board of Education voted unanimously to ban backpacks during a special meeting last Tuesday, weeks after they voted against a proposal that would require students to use backpacks made out of clear plastic material. But what the kids going to carry the stuff in? I mean, if you're going in a uniform to school and you've got PE or physical education or whatever it's called in America, and you've got your kit with you, you're going to have your kit in something, and you could easily put a handgun in that. So it just seems pointless. What you need to do is make sure that the kids can't get hold of the guns in the first place, and they can have whatever bags they want. It was the shortest before him. Ban backpacks, why not? Maybe ban guns. Exactly, Smiley Mac. Again, they're taking it out on the wrong people. Or, in this case, objects. Because obviously backpacks are not... Or maybe backpacks... Oh, I don't want to offend people. I don't want to offend people who get offended on behalf of backpacks because I called them a backpack. Because you might want to wear them on your front, so it could be a front pack. And you can't say pack either, because you just can't. So it's a bag, a device to transport items. Yeah, that'll do. A device transportation unit. There we go. Ex-officer Theo convicted of aiding in George Floyd killing. Now, I did watch the video of George Floyd killing. He's the poor guy who was knelt on the knee by a police officer, and this guy was trying to keep people away from this whilst his colleague was murdering George Floyd, but didn't do anything to tell him to, okay, you've done enough now, get off him or whatever. Was concentrating more on the people filming it rather than actually doing his job. So he's been convicted. And yeah, he should be. He should get the same as what the guy who's actually on his knee gets, because you get that nowadays. If you're with a group of people and one of them murders someone with a stabbing or a gun or whatever, that whole group is up for murder, even though only one of you did it. And that's 100%. This guy should go to prison for life. Maybe they identify as a backpack. Oh, I'm offended. You call things items. Oh no. Carrier bag. Oh no, not a carrier bag. They might suffocate. Or should I said an Asda or Walmart's bag? Well, anyway, yeah, ex-officer should get life in prison. A man from Dildo discovers iceberg shaped like a giant penis. The iceberg could cook. What? This iceberg could cold cock the Titanic. Ken Pretty, a photographer from the Canadian town of Dildo. That can't be a real place. Ah, they're literal everywhere. What? Dildos? Yeah. It's gone viral for capturing a hunk of ice that bears an unmistakable resemblance to a giant penis. There was no chilling shrinkage for this formidable phallus, which measured an impressive 30 feet and also features a pair of gargantuan gonads. Pretty noticed the Bonneberg as he flew his drone off the coast of Newfoundland in an area known appropriately as Conception Bay. I mean, talk about a story that's either just perfectly happened at any one time, or it's just complete made up hogwash. And I go for the latter, because everything is just too perfect for this to actually be a real thing. But at the end of it, looking at it, to me, it does not that I've got much experience of arachnids. It doesn't look like one, because if it did, if you had one that looked like that, I think you'd be going to doctors and saying, "Doctor, doctor, can't you see I'm freezing, freezing?" So much time in his hands, you get much pleasure from snow iceberg. Some iceberg, no idea why it connected to snow. Because it's summer. We don't get snow in summer. No, that doesn't make sense. Louisiana teen arrested in shooting over washing dishes. Some kids will do anything to avoid doing their chores. A Louisiana teen was arrested over the weekend after he allegedly shot his stepfather during a spat about doing the dishes. The 18-year-old was taken into custody and charged with second-degree aggravated battery in connection with the shooting at a home in Shreveport. Officers responded to the calls about a shooting in Melrose Street around 10:30 a.m. And yeah, it's little petty arguments like that. Thankfully, the stepfather wasn't killed, but he's still been shot. Madness. Judge tosses Trump's $100 million suit against New York Times over tax records orders ex-president to pay legal fees. A New York judge tossed out Donald Trump's $100 million lawsuit against the New York Times and ordered him to pay all of the paper's legal fees, according to a ruling on Wednesday. The former president claims that the Grace Lady and 3 of its reporters hatched an insidious plot to get his private tax records, but it fails as a matter of constitutional law, the New York Supreme Court justice said. So Trump's on about tossing out a rape charge against him, but has his own charge tossed out, trying to get $100 million off the New York Post. Dildo is a local service district and designated place in the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador on the island of Newfoundland. It's located on the south. Okay, yeah, I get that. South Dildo is a neighbourhood community of 200 residents. But Labrador, there's something called Labrador as well. What the hell? I'm now concerned about Angela's search history. Ed Sheeran's attorney says there is no smoking gun in Marvin Gaye's copyright case, Shooting Blanks. Ed Sheeran's attorney turned the volume on her closing arguments, saying there is no smoking gun in the copyright lawsuit against her client in copying Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. Simply put, the plaintiff's smoking gun was Shooting Blanks, attorney Irene Focus said at the Manhattan Federal Court. Obviously we've passed that with the other news, and we found out that the case was actually dismissed. United States sends Ukraine another $300 million in weapons ahead of counter-offensive against Russia. You know, this secret secret counter-offensive against Russia, the one that no one knows about, the one that wasn't leaked, the one that hasn't been reported every day for months. But yeah, President Biden signed off Wednesday on sending Ukraine another $300 million in weapons from US stocks as Kyiv prepares for a long-anticipated counter-offensive against Russia. Lots of anti-aircraft missiles and the like. Florida death row inmate Daryl Barwick eats fried chicken for final meal before execution. A Florida inmate set to be executed on Wednesday evening enjoyed a final meal of fried chicken, macaroni and cheese and ice cream, prison officers told the newspaper. Daryl Barwick, 56, is set to be put to death after 6 p.m. at Florida State Prison in Stark for his final feast. He was also given black-eyed peas with rice, combined cornbread and cola. See, I didn't know that the black-eyed peas performed in prisons, but apparently they're taking a leaf out of Johnny Cash's book, and he had the black-eyed peas there as well, which is nice of them. What would your last meal be? I don't know what mine would be. I'd probably have, if I knew I was going to, get shuffled off within a couple of hours, I'd probably have something that I was allergic to so I could actually enjoy it. So I'd probably have, like dairy ice cream and maybe a couple of coffees and stuff that I can't have but makes me really ill, but it wouldn't matter because they're going to kill me later on anyway. So yeah, or I'd just have a nice Zinger Tower burger as opposed to the crap ones. Ice cream, I bet he did when he was in the last room. Why would anyone be interested in that? It's news in America. They're interested in these things. A transgender lifeguard applicant rejected for exposing breasts to kids at Florida swimming pool. A transgender person was rejected for a lifeguard gig with the city of Jacksonville last week for going topless during tryouts in front of dozens of children. Though a citizen expressing concerns, my administration became aware of an incident where a biological female trainee at a lifeguard program was topless at one of our public pools. It's just a massive can of worms, literally, isn't it? Endless soup and breadsticks. I'd have bacon butties. Yeah, bacon butties is a good call. Yeah, I'll give you that. If it's early in the morning and they're not doing Zinger Tower burgers, I'd probably go for sausage and egg McMuffin. Nice juicy one though. Weird conversations we have during this. King Charles' strange food phobias revealed before coronation. He shrieked, or shreked even. And on that picture there, his cheeks are as red as the strawberry he's about to eat. King Charles III apparently has some food-related quirks, and they're coming to light ahead of this weekend's coronation ceremony. In a recently resurfaced tidbit from Tom Byer's 2018 book about then Prince Charles, titled Rebel Prince, the author wrote that the monarch didn't know what cling wrap was, and he allegedly was quite taken aback when he first saw it, according to the Mirror. Talk about a sheltered life, you don't know what cling film is. But that's not really anything to do with the food, is it? That's just something to do to keep the food fresh. But obviously if you're a Prince of Wales and future monarch, all the food is fresh all the time, and the rotten food gets served to the staff for their last meal. Prince Charles bored at Queen Elizabeth's 1953 coronation, like his kids and grandkids will be. It's good to be king, but everything else is a bore. A recently unearthed photo from now King Charles at Mum Queen Elizabeth's 1953 coronation ceremony shows that he probably would have rather been eating a coronation quiche than watching the monarch being crowned. But yeah, he was like 6 or 7 at the time. Of course he's going to be bored. It's boring. And anything's boring when you're a kid that isn't anything that you're interested in. So yeah, of course Charles was bored out of his skull. To be fair, the clips I saw today looked bored out of his skull. Atlanta shooting suspect charged in hospital massacre. A suspected Atlanta hospital shooter was charged with murder and 4 counts of aggravated assault on Thursday. Patterson, 24, waived his first court appearances scheduled for Thursday, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He was apprehended on Wednesday evening following a massive, almost 8-hour manhunt after allegedly opening fire in a waiting room at the hospital. Zombie takeover. Wait, it's only Charles. I want a coronation quiche. I don't even know what a coronation quiche is. I knew what the Jubilee trifle was because I kind of glimpsed it, but I know there's something for the coronation as well, but I've no idea what it is. And I'm not interested, I'll be honest with you. And I'm not making one, before you ask. It's not happening. Quiche is literally the best food. My mum made a massive trifle. Oh. A home buyer finds her new house infested with huge snakes slithering into the walls. A mum from Colorado was in the process of moving into a new house when she discovered, to her horror, that her dream home was overrun with shockingly big, slithery squatters. Amber Hall told the channel that when she closed in on the 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Chantel, she had no idea that the property doubled as a snake den. It was the dogs that actually found them because they could smell them through the wall. And yeah, there was lots and lots of snakes in a house. There's a snake in my house, a snake in my snake in my house, a snake in my snake in my house. I feel like a quiche. Oh, I like quiche. Okay. Elder is making a massive quiche on video now. Thank you. Thieves in Peru steal 200 sneakers, but all for the right foot. Yeah, they basically broke into a shop and took all the trainers off the shelves and fled with them, but didn't go into the stock room to get the matching trainer. So they basically hopped it with I don't know what you can do anymore. I bet she was hissed. Oh, very good. That's very, very good indeed. Kansas boy shot and killed in broad daylight. A Kansas boy was shot dead in broad daylight while playing in a front yard, and authorities are now searching for his killers. The young boy, whose name has not been released, was fatally struck around 6 p.m. on Wednesday in Kansas City. Although it is not clear how many times the victim was shot, there were multiple casings found at the scene. Again, kids, and it's probably kids shooting kids as well. It's horrendous. They really put their foot in it. Yeah, the shoe thieves. I mean, that's yeah, it's just mad. Ty Nichols' death ruled homicide from blunt force trauma, Memphis family lawyer says. Autopsy results determine Ty Nichols died of blunt force trauma after a violent encounter with cops just yards from his Memphis home. If you remember, we covered this in January. It's Tyree, isn't it, as well, not Tyre. But yeah, it was obviously police brutality that did that, nothing else. America, sort your guns out and stop your shootings, yes. Shoot first, question later. No, I'm okay, got that wrong. A swarm of bees on a Delta plane wing delayed flight for several hours. Now, it's not sure whether or not this was near where the crash was, but we've got some more bee puns. It was quite a sting operation. Passengers aboard Delta flight wondered what all the buzz was about when workers at Houston's Bush Intercontinental Airport swarmed to a wing. They soon found out that a cluster of stowaway bees turned a wingtip into their home, delaying their departure to Atlanta by several hours on Wednesday. Believe it or not, Delta Flight 1682 from Houston Bush to Atlanta took a delay. This was due to a swarm of bees on a wing. So America, sort your bees out. It is worrying. Where are we up to? Where are we? There we are. So we're on this one now. Earth, sort your bees out. Meghan Markle's estranged half-sister predicts separation from Harry and says they are at an impasse. Meghan Markle's estranged half-sister thinks the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Harry are on the outs and alleges her reluctant royal relative is trying to upstage King Charles's Saturday coronation. Samantha Markle, 58, based her breaking up claims on Meghan's apparent rebuke of a kiss camera smooch from Harry when the pair showed up at a Los Angeles Laker game last month. So yeah, basically she's basing it on nothing. I mean, we could live in hope, but yeah, she's just talking nonsense to get in the paper. Talking of nonsense, Russia blames US for supposed drone strike on Putin without any evidence, says the New York Post. So yeah, again, salt pinch, and yeah, let's move on. Ed Sheeran cleared of New York City jury let's get it on lawsuit. We've already covered that earlier. That delay sure soured up the trip. Oh, shut up, Harry. Absolutely. Princess Diana coronation weather report tweet goes viral amid rain prediction. It's predicted to rain on King Charles's parade on Sunday, but a viral tweet that joked it may be the spirits above that have orchestrated it. Responding to a tweet from LCC News which read, disappointment for royal fans as rain and storm predicted for the coronation weekend. And he posted it with a picture of Princess Diana. Okay. That makes no sense. I don't quite know what's going on there, so let's just ignore that and move on. I've said it for years that Harry and Meghan will split. She got what she wants. Yeah. More puns, anyone? Florida cops called to a fight in progress and find 2 goats brawling. No kidding. These cops were working the beat. Florida deputies were called to a fight in progress, arrived to find 2 feisty goats headbutting heads in the middle of a suburban street. The Belvedere bad boys were heard brawling by neighbours in the quiet town of Pawtucket, where residents called 911 to report the dust up on Sunday night. Yeah. It's a one-off, this bank holiday, just for the coronation itself. We won't get one next year. Not making a difference to me because I'm working it. Oh, I did a bar then. Royalists camping outside Buckingham Palace blast Harry and Meghan for flouting tradition. Disgruntled royal fans camped outside Buckingham Palace ahead of King Charles's Saturday coronation slammed Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for betraying cherished traditions of the monarchy and their family. If Harry were to be in the olden days, they would tell him he's a traitor, one woman told Times Radio. You can't betray your own people. You can't betray your family. But families do, don't they? That's the thing about families. You just argue with them all the time. They were up to no good. Oh, God. Smiley Mac. Smiley Mac. It's actually very good. Russian former president calls for Zelensky to be killed. I thought they'd been calling for that for over 12 months now. Russia's former president called on Vladimir Zelensky to be killed on Wednesday after the Kremlin accused Ukraine of launching a drone attack aimed at assassinating the country's current leader, Vladimir Putin. Ex-President Dmitry Medvedev, who is now a top security official, called for the physical elimination of Zelensky in a Telegram post on Wednesday following a purported Ukrainian drone attack on the Kremlin. After today's terrorist attack, there are no options left but the removal of Vladimir Zelensky. Yeah, Vladimir Zelensky, isn't it? Is it? No, I don't know. I'm tired. I've said tired. I don't know. I've said I'm tired. I'm tired. Anyway, yeah, more BS basically from Russia. Why is everyone against Harry but perfectly fine with Prince Andrew? I'll come to that in a bit. Princess Anne reveals her official coronation role, and she says it solves her dress problem. Princess Anne finally revealed her official role at the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla. The royal couple is set to take centre stage on Saturday's historic event, which will see His Majesty formally crowned following his ascension to the throne in September. The Princess Royal shared that she will be the gold stick in waiting at her brother's coronation, which is basically someone who will protect the monarch from attack from people in the church, etc. It's more ceremonial, obviously, than anything else. I'm sorry, I'm with Harry on this one. The boy is telling behind the scenes, I've read his book, and Charles is trying to shut him up. Well, of course they are. 3 shot dead in New Jersey, including a 7-year-old girl and suspected gunman. That's the only good news to come out of this. 3 people were shot dead in New Jersey on Wednesday night, including a 7-year-old girl and an unarmed man suspected of killing her, according to reports. The young girl was found dead at the scene on Wednesday night with a gunshot wound to her chest after authorities reached the house on Johnson Avenue after reports of a domestic dispute. Everything is solved with guns in America, and everyone else can see it. But for some reason, most Americans can't see it. So, yeah, it's awful. Customs officials discovered 22 snakes in an airline passenger's baggage. This woman took snakes on a plane to a whole new altitude, proving Indian customs officials are true life guardians of wildlife. They intercepted a female passenger with dozens of snakes in a checked-in baggage. The woman was arriving from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, attempting to smuggle 22 snakes of various species and sizes, officials said. A chameleon was also seized. I mean, how the chameleon survived with 20-odd snakes on a flight, quite impressive. Just changed the colour to the eye colour to the suitcase colour, I suppose. A suspected Atlanta hospital shooter in custody for allegedly killing 1 and injuring 4. The suspected gunman who opened fire in Atlanta hospital, killing one woman and injuring 4 others, was apprehended on Wednesday night. Again, you see more gun crime. I mean, obviously we get gun crime in the UK, but not to this level. And that shooting in Belarus with the 13-year-old boy that we were talking about earlier on, who was the shooter, allegedly, is horrific. But it just doesn't happen in Europe. It's just a thing that seems to be American. Amazon worker springs into action to catch a porch pirate. That's my job. A quick-thinking Amazon delivery driver hunted down a porch pirate and forced the thief to give up his partner in crime, who fled the scene with a poached package. The Amazon employee witnessed the 2 thieves snatch the freshly delivered package off property in Norman, Oklahoma on Monday before fleeing towards separate escape routes. The driver sprang into action and quickly followed one bandit and retrieved the item and brought it back to the porch. So he's a hero, Amazon delivery driver. So I wish I could say what I think, what I see could happen, but I can't. America should have gone to Specsavers. The Royals are hiding big secrets and trying to hush Harry. Why can't you say it? I agree with you. Because I get my channel shut down. Woman caught drunk driving twice in 3 hours near Niagara Falls. A New York woman was charged for 2 caught allegedly driving drunk 2 times. What? I think the typist. A New York woman was charged for 2 caught alleged driving drunk 2 times within just 3 hours. So basically, she got stopped in 3 hours twice and failed the drunk test that they have in America. I don't know what it is, whether they still do the walking along the line and with your arms closed, touch your nose, you know, all that kind of thing. And I don't know whether they do all that, or whether it's an actual blow in here and keep blowing. And yeah. So next up, we've gotten, but yeah, surely if you get arrested for drunk driving, they don't let you drive off again, do they? In your car, because that'd be insane. Majority of Americans believe gender determination at birth, against biological males in sports, women's sports. They're against biological males in sports. It's a bit harsh. A new poll found that the majority of American adults believe gender is determined at birth and are against biological males competing in women's sports. A new Washington Post poll dropped with the insights into Americans' views on transgenderism in the nation, our schools and women's sports. So yeah, I mean it's one of them things, isn't it, where if you're in your 20s or whatever and you decide that that's, you know, you're in the wrong body and you want to change, then that's fine, but I don't think they should be forcing it on people under the age of 20. I think you should be over 20 before you do anything about it. And yeah, by then you've obviously gone through puberty, either way. But yeah, it's just a very, 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 very a topic that can drag you in quite easily. Mission Impossible. Oh, Mission Impossible. A neighbour solves mystery on Mammoth, New Jersey noodle dumping. Now, this was the thing that was reported that I didn't show you because it was a bit boring, but the actual story is actually quite good. To catch this culprit, neighbours used their noodles. A man was captured on camera unloading heaps of his late mother's spaghetti, possibly solving the mystery of now hundreds of pounds of pasta ended up near an Old Creek town hall. According to residents, a doorbell camera caught footage of the son cleaning uncooked noodles out of his mum's house in Old Town after she died. But why would she have so much uncooked noodles, and how long will it take to break down and get absorbed back into the thing? It looks like there's an imposter amongst us. Oh, very good. Imposter, pasta. Yeah, I get it. Fired butcher of Mariupol, Russian general, joins Wagner mercenaries. A notoriously ruthless Russian general, dubbed the Butcher of Mariupol, has reportedly joined the Wagner mercenary group as a deputy commander just days after being axed from the high-powered military post. Yeah, it's not just Putin who's mad. There's these other people as well, and the worrying thing is that these people, even though they've been kicked out of various different things, are still part of it. Noodle dump, just like me at Starbucks earlier. Oh, thank you. Prince George will wear a sword to guard King Charles at the coronation. Hopefully, many years from now, the world will be celebrating the coronation of new King George. Meanwhile, the young Prince George of Wales is only 9, and the coronation of his grandfather, Charles III, will be his introduction to the family business. George will have a key role as a page of honour to the king, becoming the youngest future king to play an official role at a coronation. Yeah, he's quite switched on, really, to be fair. He seems to get what's going on around him for a youngster. So yeah, talking of which, who are Queen Camilla's grandchildren? Her family exposed in rare spotlight. Up till now, Queen Camilla has attempted to keep her own family from her marriage to Andrew Parker Bowles largely away from the royal spotlight. But a coronation as Queen will put an end to that, with her 5 children and grandchildren set for prominent roles, and her own closeness to her children underlined by what's set to be prominent seats in Westminster Cathedral. So basically these, I assume they're her grandkids, may well end up getting titles like Prince and stuff like that. But I don't agree with that, because I don't think she should be allowed to marry him anyway, because she's a divorcee and he's a divorcee. So therefore, he shouldn't be king. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Wagner mercenary boss rages at lack of ammo in grisly video and vows to pull out of Bakhmut. The founder of Russia's Wagner mercenary group announced Friday that his private army has been spearheading the bloody fight to capture Bakhmut, but will pull out of Ukraine city next week, just hours after he released a grisly video showing what he claimed to be corpses of his fighters as he raged about the lack of ammunition. Yurgen Prigozhin, a catering mogul and close ally to Vladimir Putin, released the video earlier in the week. But obviously we didn't see it because we're too busy talking about a coronation. You can't just leave your nudes outside. Jeffrey Ireland, thou shalt not be named, was sold this week. Alright, okay. Crowd boos and flips bird as Charles' coronation procession goes by. Not my king. Amid seas of Union Jacks, demonstrators filled the air with a cluster of boos Saturday as King Charles III and Queen Camilla's coronation. The royal procession was heckled by anti-monarch protesters who were joined in the crowd of onlookers watching the parade on Saturday. Down with the crown, many of them masses shouted as the carriage rolled past, armed with blinding yellow signs and shirts, "Not my king." The thing was, they were in like one part, which is Trafalgar Square. This sounds like it's all the way down everywhere, and it just wasn't. And you're allowed to protest. And that kind of protest I don't have a problem with, I'll be honest. I don't have a problem with that one. Ukraine uses US Patriot defense system to shoot down a Russian hypersonic missile. Ukraine used newly acquired American Patriot defense systems to shoot down a Russian hypersonic missile over Kyiv, its Air Force said on Saturday. It marked the first known time that Ukraine has been able to intercept one of Moscow's most modern missiles, and the first time Ukraine is known to have used the Patriot defense systems. So things are escalating rather rapidly in Ukraine, but hopefully in the right direction. Meanwhile, Prince Harry is blocked by Princess Anne's feathers during coronation. Eagle-eyed watchers noticed that Prince Harry was obscured during his father's coronation ceremony, recalling the moment Meghan Markle was similarly blocked during the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II last year. Harry, 38, was seated in the third row at Westminster Abbey while his father King Charles and stepmother Queen Camilla were crowned by the Archbishop of Canterbury. And when the cameras turned round, that's what you saw. A big red feather covering his face. It's hilarious. Oh, shut up, Harry. He didn't say anything. Prince Andrew attends King Charles's coronation in garter robes. Scandal-scarred Royal Prince Andrew has arrived at Westminster Abbey for the coronation service of his brother King Charles III and raised eyebrows by donning traditional garter robes despite losing his status as a senior royal. The embattled Duke of York, 63, will watch Charles, 74, is formally crowned and anointed despite early speculation that may be excluded due to his ties to paedophile Jeffrey Ireland, apparently, according to Admiral Cap. I don't know. Obviously it's not Jeffrey. Prince Harry walks into Westminster Abbey alone for King Charles's coronation, and that's the picture they show, where he's obviously talking to people as he walks in, so he's not alone. Princess Anne joined team Shut Up Harry. Okay. Deep sea cannibal fish washed up along Oregon shoreline, baffling scientists. Something about this smells fishy. Scientists have been left baffled after several cannibalistic Twilight Zone creatures washed up on Oregon's beaches in recent weeks. Multiple lancefish, one of the ocean's largest fish that live about a mile below the surface, were found strewn along a 220-mile swathe of the state's coastline. No one's sure why they are washing ashore, the state park says. Now, I'm not an expert in these things, but I reckon if you die a mile down in the sea, the chances are you ain't going to float to the top because the amount of pressure on you. It's just going to make you float to the bottom, where you will then rot and then feed the next generation of species that live down there. The only thing I can think of is that might have been an earthquake which may have disturbed them or killed them, and that has made them move up into a higher plane, dead, and then they've just floated to the surface and washed up on the shore. But I'm not a scientist, so what do I know? Probably more than a scientist, to be honest. Tennessee hotel guest wakes up to night manager sucking his toes. Totally gross, brilliant. An evening manager of a Tennessee hotel was arrested after he snuck into a man's room and sucked on his toes, according to police. David Neal, a 52-year-old manager at the 4th Avenue South Hilton Hotel in Nashville, allegedly crept into a male guest room when he was sleeping on March the 30th and got intimate with his feet. Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, apart from the fact that you're messing around with someone's body while they're asleep is obviously not right, but the feet? Who the hell goes for feet of a stranger? You don't know whether they've had a shower, they don't know whether they've walked 50 miles, they're in a hotel, you've snuck into the... No, the whole thing is just beyond creepy. And then finally, for America, King Charles's scaled back coronation could cost up to $125 million. As the world prepares to watch King Charles's officially take the throne on Saturday, there is much discussion over how much the coronation festivities will cost taxpayers. The star-studded ceremony at Westminster is set to be scaled back affair due to the current economic climate, but it's still estimated to cost between $63 million and $125 million, according to the BBC. So $63 million and $125 million, it's between that. I mean, that is a massive... That's just like saying, you know, this piece of paper is valued between half a pence and £500 million. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. Anyway, yeah, that is it for America. So what's next? Well, we all know what next is. Next is Australia. G'day, sport. Now, because I've been busy this week posting leaflets and going to accounts and getting drunk, I've not got much Australian news this week, I'm afraid. But they are interesting, the items I've got. For example, recreational vaping is to be banned in Australia. Recreational. Major changes are coming for vaping laws in Australia, with the federal government announcing a $234 million crackdown. Why? Well, the crackdown is going to ban disposable vapes, which makes sense because it's plastic, it's got batteries in it, and they just get thrown on the ground. So yeah, that's disgusting. Flavours will be restricted, products will require plain packaging, and packaging will have to have warning labels on for the health issues caused by vaping. Yes, finally, Australia obviously listens to me when I say that, you know, vaping is not good for you. We know smoking is not good for you, but vaping is not good for you. Top 10 passwords to avoid. Now, if you've got any of these passwords, don't say, oh, I've got that password, because obviously you've just told everyone your password. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. QWERTY. Password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. QWERTY 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. W3 E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you've got any of them, stop it. £98 million comes with the trip to Australia now. Not enough freedom. I just said don't say it's your password because everyone knows your password. So we'll get rid of them quick. Why are all my passwords there? Because I am psychic, Annie, and I've been channeling through your beautiful skeleton's skull. I don't know. I'm tired. I don't know. And finally, not many of these either this week, because it's exactly the same reason. I've been busy, really busy doing stuff. I'm going to go with these first, and then I'll go to the best two at the end. First humans on Mars will live off organic Martian grown... What? What? Say that again. My hotspot password. Anyone can use that anyway. Okay, fair enough. First human on Mars will live off organic Martian rice grown on red planet. Well, obviously you're going to have to grow food on the planet because you can't take up years and years and years worth of food. As if life wasn't going to be tough enough for Mars colonizers, 260 million kilometres from Earth, it is expected the first Martians will have to look forward to eating scrummy gene-edited rice. But yeah, what else can you grow? You need something that grows quick and something that is sustainable. She's outside at the moment, so she's alright. El Nino weather systems could bring hottest day world has ever seen this year. An El Nino weather system occurs every few years and has been associated with record-breaking temperatures worldwide, and forecasters say it's coming back in 2023. So we could be having a hot one. Kate Middleton lookalike says lifelong ambition to play Duchess in The Crown. Kate Middleton lookalike revealed her desire is to play the Princess of Wales in the Netflix series The Crown, with Molly Brinkman holding out hope of a role in the latest season of the show. I don't watch The Crown, I would never watch The Crown, but apparently she thinks it's a good idea. Princess Diana's most iconic dresses end up dumped in a second-hand shop. Mystery still clouds the question over how and why Sarah Ferguson's mum ended up with Princess Diana clothes and decided to offload them at a second-hand shop. Yeah. And then we get to, oh no, we'll do this one. Kremlin staged Putin assassination to justify mass mobilization. So this is the thought that the Kremlin actually fired the drone at their own building and blew it up before it hit it, in order to be able to say, look what Ukraine's done, now we can go and get them because they've done a war crime on us. It's not really very funny, to be fair, but anyway. We've got stuff that is funny. For example, this is actually clever. The Swan and Mallard. And I'll wait for you to get it, because this is amazing. Really is a very, 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 very good sign and design. Obviously, if you listen on the podcast, you won't have a clue what I'm going on about, but it's very good. But yeah, can you see what's going on there? Can you see what it is yet? It's good, isn't it? It's really, really clever. It's, I mean, once you've seen it, you're like, why has no one else come up with this? But it's genius. It's a fantastic sign. It's not funny, but it is impressive. And we like stuff that's impressive. So let's move on. S&M, yeah. The S is the swan, and you can see the duck inside the swan. Its little legs as well. And its little head around the neck of the swan. Boring? It's not boring, it's beautiful. Anyway, technology. I was about a Victorian iPad. Oh, I clicked it. Look. Victorian iPads, £2.95. My grandmother used to use a chalk thing when she was at school, as did my granddad as well, I suppose. But yeah, it's been classed as a iPad. You don't get what, Angela? You don't get the. What don't you get? Do you get? Is it the iPad? You don't get the iPad, or you don't get the Swan and Mallard. I don't know what you don't get. Anyway, while you tell me what you don't get, let's have a look at this. Half of British parents will steal their kids' chocolate stash over Easter, according to a new poll. And yeah, I think I never did because I was allergic to milk chocolate. But I know most parents would think, well, little Sarah, little Johnny, whatever, has got 18 billion Easter eggs, so I'm going to have some of them. The Swan, right? Okay, then we'll go back to the Swan. I'll move it across so I can point to it. So you've got the Swan there, going round and down and up, and then this here is the legs of the duck. That's the body of the duck, and that is the head of the duck. So you've got the duck inside the Swan. You've got the Swan and Mallard. You see, it's the Swan and Mallard. Now do you get it? Because I think that is a genius sign. It took, I must admit, it took me a minute or two to get it. But yeah, once I got it, it's one of them things. It's just fantastic design. Whoever come up with that is a literal, well, not a literal because it's not writing, but a genii. A genii. Right, if you're squeamish, look away now. To celebrate King Charles's coronation, there's about. Oh, you see it now. Good. I was about a tribute to King Charles in the form of meat. Aberdeen Angus, to be fair. Obviously, I imagine it's been squeezed a little bit to get like that, but that is impressive. That is a steak that looks like King Charles. And finally, if you are very squeamish, I suggest you do not go any further and give me a minute to show the picture, and then I will move on. But it is hilarious. So I'll count down for when you stop, and then just jump a minute, and then it'll be fine again. So 3, 2, 1, go. Winner of the Laziest Cat Award. So it's a cat with a squint that's got a mouse in its mouth that it's caught, but the mouse is it was already dead because it's in a mouse trap. The Laziest Cat in the World award goes to that cat, which is genius. That really doesn't look like him. Charles looks more dead than that. God. And anyway, that is it for tonight. Pretty quick one really, it's just under 2 hours. So Smiley Mac, Angela, Ben, Annie, S, Admiral Cat, Marty Hopcook, JT, and Rach. You can have your break now, JT. I think that is it, unless anyone else has come on in the meantime. We've just got our regulars having a chit chat. There's actually quite a lot of writing today. You've done that. You've done very well. You've done a lot of responding, which is great. I love it when there's a bit of chat going on that we can join in. Yeah, there we go. Don't give Silence any ideas. Yeah, I'm not showing her that picture. I will be honest with you. Anyway, that is it. How we done tonight? 85 views. Average view 10 minutes, 11 minutes, which is good. 5 likes, which is even better. Chat rate of 3, which is interesting as well. Yeah, that's all good. So yeah, thank you very much. When are you due to do food review with Silence and your food review for cooking? When I get around to it, now I've got everything back again. Pretty sure I'm a lazier cat myself. Admiral Cat, very good. Yeah, but that is it for this broadcast. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed thou art still. Still are, or art still, and I will see you all again next time. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye! So yeah, there you go then, podcast people. Hope you're good, hope you've enjoyed this, and all being well, I will see you again and speak to you again at some point in the future. Until then,